And welcome back to another episode of Loss of Down, brought to you by Tabbease.com, the premier Delta 8 edible on the market, TABEASE.com. Make sure you use promo code football for 20% off that order as well as free shipping. It's a Wally and Steve episode. Wally's been very consistent. First one in probably about 3 weeks, maybe a month. Wally, how the hell are you? You're looking phenomenal. Lettuce is looking better each day.
Well, the lettuce probably has about a month left to live. Once my brother's wedding's done in the middle of July, then it's going kaput.
No.
And I'm some kind of excited about it, actually, because I literally was shaving head Wally my whole life. And then just randomly about 5 years ago, I started letting it grow a little bit. So you've only known this guy, where in reality, I've been worthless.
I got a best of both worlds.
You did get the end of the other way.
Wally. I got caught off guard by a Wally buzz cut during the summer.
Yeah, because that was, for the longest time, that was my haircut, where 2 weeks would go by, I'd shave it to the wood again, like a zero. And it was like the one where your hand like sticks on your head, it's so close. And I loved it because of how comfortable it is, but at the same time, I gotta be honest, the lettuce is amazing. It's hard to live with, especially when you're a big guy. But anyways, enough about me and my hair situation. Steven, you have some awesome news that you hinted at about 3 weeks ago in your last episode. Can you tell everybody your news? And then that way I can get all excited and congratulate you again.
Yes, officially, me and Miss Kylie Cairns is going to be soon to be Mr. and Mrs. Weed. Pulled off the engagement here 2 weeks ago from this past Saturday. So since then, it's been a crazy last couple weeks, but I've already had a couple viewings. Might have a date in mind. Don't want to throw it out right now until it is official. But let's just say, guys, it is right in front of your faces.
Okay, that the only hint I wanted about the date, and it's not even like slimming it down. You're just eliminating football season, right?
Yeah, off the docket.
You're amazing. It doesn't matter now. I'll be there. That was basically, I'm like, don't make this like the people that send me.
It was going to be a Friday wedding, and then we were going to have some stuff to do. It's going to be in Columbus most likely. So from there, say if we did it on a Friday in football season, I would never do a Saturday in Buckeye season. I don't give a shit about the Buckeyes, but I'm not going to do that.
You're smart enough to know that, and I'm proud of you for that.
If I was going to do it, it's obviously going to be a bye week, but even then, that's kind of stretching it depending on what the matchups are that week. But no, if we did it on a Friday, you'd have all Saturday and Sunday. We live right next to the casino. Come down, hang out a little bit, head over to the sports book, have a weekend. But unfortunately, we wanted a Friday, but we might have to be shooting for another day.
Well, hey, no, that's okay. If it's a Friday in fall, it's different. It's the people that have the Saturday weddings where I look at the schedule and it's like Ohio State, Wisconsin, and I'm like, what do you guys think I do in my existence? Like, yeah, I want weddings to be catered strictly to me.
Of course.
Like, Wally only. I want it to be around me.
It's your day, but it's my night, right?
Exactly. Like, if the Buckeyes are playing the Badgers, I'm sorry, that's Steve's wedding. Like, oh, wow, someone volunteered to spend their life together. Come on.
Yeah, no, and if I would do that, say that's like an 8 o'clock game, I would do everything where my wedding would be the pregame for the game. It'd be like, all right, everything's over at 7, head out to the bars. We already have parlays locked up and loaded for some space for us to watch the games. That'd be different.
All right, so this will be me speaking out of both sides of my mouth. But I've always had the idea too, where when I do eventually get married, you have a Saturday wedding in the fall on purpose. This obviously, a lot of this comes in on whoever you're marrying. But if the wife would let it happen, imagine a reception at like 3:30 where you have a projector screen over here for one game, projector screen over here for another one, and it's more or less. It's just we're at the casino as a reception. Just like everybody can watch their football. You can dance if you'd like. You can do any of that wedding shit. There's a cookie table.
As long as there's a couple touchdowns, because I got money on it, I'll be dancing too.
Yeah, and well, that's the key, because like we have to ride together. It's EBR, everybody rides, because you cannot go into one of those nights where half of the people are on one team, half on the other, because that's where you get friendships damaged on a wedding day.
Shout out to my boy Thomas Terakavicius. He is the king of. Oh, you're liking that? I'm kind of liking this other side. I'm gonna ride. The amount of times that man has come into my household betting against my Packers
in your home.
or Syracuse, the disrespect. I specifically remember one game. I was living. It's like 2017. Green Bay's playing the Texans. Texans are 7.5, 7-point dogs, right? And of course, the Texans miss an extra point to not cover in my house, and I was like, "Yep, that's what you get, Todd." So everyone always has that one friend.
They do, and it always happens to be the person that bets like the least amount too. Where
no, Todd's got some big balls. He'll throw around.
Okay, well, at least I'll give him that, where if you have stake in the game, I can at least respect it. It's, the story I'm thinking of too, but there are plenty of people out there that it's the me versus you mentality where it's like, well, if you're betting, and we're not unit shaming, but if you're betting $10 and I have my life on this game, at least have the common decency not to say a word to me when that bet hits. Because I'm not supposed, they expect you to be just as excited for them for that $10 hit. And it's like, dude, you got to chill out. So that's one of those, you got to just throw that into the world. If you're one of those people, seek help.
Before we get on to any of the news, any of the rapid fire, I also have to give a huge shout out. Big Falcons fan, big listener of the podcast, been on a couple of times, Mr. Evan Desiker and his now wife, Paige, got to tie the knot on Saturday. We actually got to attend it. See a couple of the boys, Dakota, Connor, Bo from Vegas. Bo's doing just great. He was wearing white, which was a little bit sketchy, but, Bo had the slick back hair. He was able to pull it off just great.
Oh, Bo. God, that's one of those stories
in Vegas,
that you
people,
can't...
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you can't even share it just because, we'd have to get permission from him. But that was an Uber ride from hell. That's all. I'll leave it at that. So
depends what seat you're in, but
there.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, congratulations, Evan. Thank you again. 2-time recurring guest of the show. I'm sure it won't be his last time either, but congratulations, Evan and Paige. It's the summer of love right here.
That's all it is. Do you have, how many, you got some weddings, don't you? I guess that's more of a rhetorical question. I know you got weddings.
Yeah, well, I just luckily got done with my, I guess, last best man of the summer, I think. My brother, he's kind of wishy-washy up in the air about me or this other guy, and I've been kind of like, hey, I'll do all the things. I just don't want to have
I live with you. You should get him. You barely see him.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need this. Come on, we don't need these labels. I'm beyond that. I'm secure enough in my skin. So I'm
brother, he's best man. Come on, we're all bees here.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard to almost do negative campaigning for myself. That Wally guy, that guy's an asshole. You don't want him doing your speech.
Oh, is it in that time of the year? My back kind of flares up around that time.
Yeah, I'll be drunk. Do you want? I could say anything like that.
Look at his hair. Do you want me up there? Come on.
Yeah, come on, dude. A little respect for yourself. Come on.
Yeah, my God.
But yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, we got weddings everywhere. David, I think, actually has one. I think that's why he's not here today. He was up in New Hampshire.
Was he doing the Bronco thing this past weekend?
See, I wasn't sure. I knew he was in New Hampshire with his lovely lady, and I thought it would be for a wedding, but I can't keep track.
I remember he was doing that little Bronco expedition or whatever, where the Bronco drivers get to go out and to the nature, test drive. I don't know. I saw him post today, and they looked like they were mudding, and they were just giving instructions on how to drive it through mud. So I'm assuming
he listens back to these, so he'll have to remember to tell us, because I almost love that he's going the Harley Davidson bike guys for Broncos.
Jeeps, that's what it is.
Yeah, he's a Jeep guy basically now, but Broncos.
You're not, don't call yourself a Bronco driver if you're not getting he got away with it white. That's all I'm saying. That's the only.
I see. I still think those old 90 Broncos, those things were hot. It's a shame, he killed his wife thing.
No, that's why I said is that I got away with it white. That's the best color of the Bronco.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I got what you're saying. It's just like the whole like, it's just like an iconic car to begin with. Maybe if he just didn't kill his wife, maybe they'd still be around. Maybe Broncos don't disappear for 20 years.
That's true. If I was driving a Bronco, I would only drive it with black leather gloves. That's going to bring us right into the NFL news here. We only have a couple things, but we do have a couple fun topics. DeAndre Hopkins cut by Arizona after 3 seasons, so Cards are going to clear just over $7 million cap space in 2023.
Which is nothing.
But what is a lot is that $22 million in dead cap. All the dead cap will be off the books by 2024. But GM Wally, I can't remember who the GM is currently now. I know they kind of took a little switcheroonie, but
I want to say it's Austin Fort.
Yep, I think you're right. But no, Wally, you've been kind of the ringleader on the whole Suckville Glendale or Glenville Suckville era that Arizona has coming up here. Before we get into what are the possible landing spots are, just overall the DeAndre Hopkins, are you surprised they're cutting him and not able to find a trade suitor?
See, that's the only part of this that I can spin around into a negative for Arizona, just because you have had these trade talks for, it feels like, months now. And if you got an offer, even if it was a 5th rounder before the draft and you said no, you feel like an idiot now. But at the same time, as soon as the teams realized, like, the Cardinals had no leverage. Everybody in the world knew he wasn't going to be a Cardinal next year. So why would I pay money, basically, or give you a pick just to pay more than what I can get him at on the free agent market? So, I mean, the Cardinals were over a barrel. But like you said, embrace the suck, Arizona. This is what you want. Caleb Williams isn't going to get there on accident. It's going to be a really hard 2023, but it's going to be so worth it in 2 years.
It makes it easier that your division is like semi-loaded. We'll see what the Rams are going to look like. San Fran's going to be San Fran, and then Seattle, I'm expected to not really miss a beat on paper at least.
Like 9-10-ish wins. Seattle again.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, this is a good time to have that Suckville mentality because you have to be damn near perfect to be able just to win this division. It almost seems like if you're getting up to what you almost want to put 12 wins, 13 wins, you're a lock for the division at this point, depending on what San Fran looks like. So, no, it's really good. So let's flip it over here. Top 5, look, where do you expect D-Hop to land? We got the top 5 here, New England at plus 1,200, the Kansas City Chiefs at plus 750, the Bills at plus 550. This is so surprising to me, but the Detroit Lions coming in at second at plus 380, and then right now the Cleveland Browns are the favorite at plus 125. I'll toss it over to you here, Wally. Who are some of the teams that you're keeping an eye out on about who's picking Diop up?
Well, so first of all, DraftKings was where I stole those odds from. They came from the last day in May. I've been searching all day. You know how it's amazing. You can find anywhere odds on anything, but then you go and try to find them in a book that you can place a. Yeah, like when you want to actually place money on that bet, I can't find it. I'm going through FanDuel. I'm going through DraftKings. I Googled it. There's stories. Each story, it's a different site with different numbers. So, yeah, the Detroit Lions were a little high there, but at the same point, they need a receiver. Jamison Williams out the first 6 weeks. Sounds like who knows, there's even more gambling suspensions coming potentially there in Detroit. So, I mean, I guess for me, the front runner is Buffalo. And it's, for me, simple. Because they brought in Dalton Kincaid in the draft. What can you really improve this offense now? It's either you go and get an elite running back, which that doesn't feel like they're trying to do. And if you're not going to do that, go get a true number 2, a good number 2 with Stephon Diggs. I mean, you remember, Steven, what it was like in week 8-9 last year when the Bills are bullying teams by 10 points, and we were basically like sharpieing them into the Super Bowl. Now all of a sudden it's like that Bengals loss did so much negative damage to the stock, I guess you would say. This is when I'd be buying all my Buffalo Bills stuff. Why not go get him? And if they do, to me it's not even close to the best roster in the AFC.
Yeah, I like the Bills. Now, the only thing is that they're going to be bottom 3 in available cap space right now. At just a hair under.
Which is make-believe.
Yeah, exactly, which is 1.4, so kind of take it as you will. But out of
I mean, they just signed Leonard Floyd and they had no money.
Exactly. What, 1 year, which we're going to get to. But yeah, exactly.
We
A
will.
1 year deal that, a veteran, I don't actually know the numbers. Hopefully you got that here a little bit earlier. But out of those teams in there, the highest rated team with the cap space is going to be the Lions with just under 28 or 24 mil. So that's awesome. They have a great O-line. You got a quarterback that is still trying to prove himself after a career year, best year, at least his best year without Sean McVay underneath the helm. You got stars like Amon St. Brown already there. Let's see what their running back situation is going to look like. I know they got rid of D. Swift, they got rid of Jamal Williams, but they included David Montgomery, and they got someone else that they drafted here. I can't remember. Just because it's
Jahmyr Gibbs, baby.
The offseason, it always slips. But the Lions don't look bad. Why not the Cowboys? I don't want the Cowboys to go there, but it's just they're good
Plus
odds.
2,500 is obscenely low. I'm with you.
Yeah, for somebody who's put stock or put a lot of his life into the state of Texas already, starting his career there in Houston. They got 20.5 mil. Texans are right underneath them at 16.8. I've seen a lot of possibilities of him coming back to Houston and maybe just being that old guy, but he has kind of expressed his desire to win, so I'm not really fully anticipating that. But I swear, if the Chiefs end up getting this guy, that's ridiculous. I kind of
don't even put that in the world.
I want to throw a couple. First off, the Browns, awesome. I know that's one of the teams I thought of right when we saw that in our team message. That they have some solid cap space left. Yeah, you got about.
I mean, you brought in Elijah Moore. He's a true slot. It'd be a fun wide receiver immediately.
DPJ you have there, but all of a sudden, all these
Amari,
and you have Amari. You have Amari. DPJ is going to be your third guy, and these Browns fans have been clamoring for him to be a number one. At least the guys I'm around who are just been annoying the hell out of me. But don't forget about David Njoku as well. So they can add weapons, and a familiar face with Deshaun is going to probably help that out a lot. On top of that, they got the cap space. Here's my wild card. Denver Broncos. You add another star to that offense. There's been so many talks about wanting to move on from Jerry Jeudy, maybe Tim Patrick, maybe Cortland Sutton, whatever it is, the injuries that you've had, but just getting that type of offensive piece to really extend the offense and talk about taking a top off of defense, because D-Hop's your number one. Jerry Jeudy is going to be a pretty great number two, and I'm more of a fan of Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton myself. So you're going to have that as your top four receivers. I like that a lot. Not including you're going to have Javonte Williams coming back from that ACL tear.
Do you think you could sell DeAndre Hopkins on Russell Wilson, though? Because I think that would be the hardest part for me.
Yeah, you have a quarterback that has not only been there, but he's had continued success, right? He knows how to play on a team. He knows how to play on the team that DeAndre Hopkins wants to play on, right? That defensive first. They got a running game. Their O-line could probably do a little bit better. But question mark about the GM of the front office with the John Elway stuff that's come out the past couple years. Some things have seemed to go through the cracks. Some have not. People kind of, I don't think this story was as publicized, but John Elway just walking in drunk like half the time apparently was one of the stories circulating.
He got quiet fired this year, which now we have General George Patton basically as a dead man walking. It's Sean Payton's job.
Yes.
And George Patton gets to sit at a desk that says GM. That's all he has.
So, but that's the big question mark. I know GM in front office is something nothing he's really had stable in his entire career. So that'd be the big question mark. But you got the head coach. You got a Super Bowl winning head coach, Super Bowl winning quarterback who's also been there twice on top of various Pro Bowls. And yeah, I don't know how I could sell DeAndre, but I think that Russell Wilson, really where he's at in the offense and where he's looking at compared to last year would be really the only deciding factor on top of going back with his boy in Cleveland.
To me, it's money or a ring. What do we want more, DeAndre? Because it feels like that's what it's going to come down to right now. Because if he takes a discount, he's going to go to one of those places like Buffalo, Dallas, Kansas City, and if he wants the money, then God bless him, go get it. Yeah, well, Minnesota signs him. I guess with Justin Jefferson, it'd be a fun offense, but it's still Kirk Cousins. It's still Kirk Cousins.
Still Kirk Cousins.
Anyways, speaking of disappointing quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo had foot surgery this offseason because here's a kicker, guys. The Raiders, well, yeah, I guess, yeah, especially with what we're going to have later, but the Raiders, like only the Raiders could do, agree to a 3-year, $72 and change million deal with Jimmy G. Yes, there's an addendum in there. I think it was addendum G, which is even funny. It's addendum Jimmy G, where if he is not able to play and he's not healthy by the regular season, the team can cut him for free. And that sounds fine, I guess, until then you realize who's behind him, because you just lost Jared Stidham.
Brian Hoyer's squad, baby.
Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell, the 39-year-old rookie out of Purdue. Not literally 39, but he basically
I was so shook.
God, I mean, it basically is, though. He's married. I think he was like a 6-year or 7-year, because he had the COVID year, he had a redshirt year, he had an injury year. He's been in Purdue his whole life. They're going to name.
He's used every redshirt, the medical, the freshman,
yeah, like he's got them all.
COVID, okay. Yeah, this is wild. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah, we know Brian Hoyer's on there, but the second thing that came to my mind is you cannot tell me that Tom Brady is not going to suit up for those Vegas Raiders.
Let's get into it. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just get in there. But I mean, God, this is bad. Devontae can't be happy. Josh Jacobs probably is happy because he can get the rock a little bit more. But we got to get him a contract. So it can't get any. It wasn't going to get any better, but I guess it can get a little bit worse.
Well, guess what? That's not true, at least according to Josh McDaniels, because he said, you guys may have anxiety. I have no anxiety. I'm not going to put a timeline or a day on anything. He's not worried about Jimmy G. Why would he be? Because he understands that he's going to be there now if this fails. It's like the best case scenario for him, because he's going to basically get another year scot-free. And we can go into Tom Brady. He's now a partial owner. It's official. And they passed a new league rule that would allow him to play in the event that the Raiders were able to agree to whatever.
Crazy how that works out. The San Francisco rule. So it was a shout out to the hometown team hooking up a AFC rival, I guess. I
well, and it's ironic. Well, I mean, they hate each other. I appreciate you actually saying that.
I just think of them playing on the field, and it looks like, jersey-wise, it looks like a rivalry. It's like that's
it feels
red and
like
gold
one
versus
too.
Black and silver.
And it was always, they were 5 minutes across the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, and that was back in the day where Candlestick had the Giants, the Raiders had the A's, so it was always a baseball field. Look at that. By the way, they had the lowest attended game in like 40-something years. I think it was 1978. They had 2,000-some fans for a game of what I want to say a week ago.
God, I
brutal.
Kind of wish I lived in that area, because I bet those tickets are selling like minor league tickets right now.
I'll have to send you a YouTube video later, because you remember watching Raiders games there growing up, how big that stadium is. 2,000 people in there, and that's like probably sold tickets. So there's a chance that it's even fewer in attendance. Yeah. It was wild. The kids were playing like catch in the stands because it was so empty. Like,
I saw a video of a guy jumping onto the field, running the bases, and then jumping off, and the security was like,
I mean, why am I going to stop him?
It's like, come on, whatever. He's running around the bases more than our actual team is, so I got to soak this in.
I did see yeah, because have you seen their record too? The last I saw, they were 12-47.
Oh my God.
Pace for the third worst record in Major League Baseball history, and that goes back like basically to the Civil War when they're keeping track. So congratulations, Oakland. You're going to lose your baseball team too. But anyways, back to the Raiders. I only have one thing for you, Steven, and I'm good. This, to me, is outstanding news. Because unlike the moron Raider fans that think that the Jimmy G move was a quarterback upgrade. It was at best a minor reduction. And now, if he doesn't play, it's Caleb Williams country for me too. Arizona, look out, you're going to have competition.
Yeah, and you guys can chalk up losses way more easier than Arizona can. At least Arizona, we got to look at the schedule, but I know 6 losses at least 4 losses right off the bat.
Yeah, because we own Denver.
Yeah. So 5?
I'll give you.
Split.
I will give you 4.5 guaranteed. I'll let you have 5. I'll let you have 5. I'll give you 5.
Said 4.5. But yeah, then you have to go to the rest of the schedule. Jordan Love, he's going to tear you guys up.
Yeah, you're so true. We'll get into him too.
Yeah, unfortunately. Ed Oliver staying in Buffalo, signing a 4-year, $68 million guaranteed, or $68 mil, 45 of that is guaranteed. That's an extension to stay there with Buffalo. Don't forget we got Von Miller expected to come back. Something that me and Wally just talked about. They also signed Leonard Floyd to a 1-year, $9 million deal. Fresh off his 9 sacks in 2022.
I screwed up. It's not 9, by the way. So
it's so weird that you put it on there
because
that was the number in my mind before I scrolled down. So that's
okay. Maybe it's real then.
Yeah.
I thought I saw 9 million somewhere.
Yeah, that's not an outlandish number for a 1-year-old vet for the DN, depending on what his usage is going to be with how deep they are.
You make me feel better. I appreciate you.
I think you got it right, but they get at Oliver. Von Miller's going to come back. We know what his price tag is looking like, so Von Miller needs to have a really good year here in Buffalo, and with Leonard Floyd kind of taking some of that heat off, there you go.
I mean, look at the 3 names here. This is as active and exciting as a week of June can get for a fan base. I mean, for Buffalo, you got news earlier in the week.
And they just broke ground in their stadium today.
Great point. It's been amazing. Imagine if they signed DeAndre Hopkins now. It's like everything's turning Buffalo at the moment. And regardless if it's $9 million or not, I'm going to just say, even if it comes out that it's like $2 million, it's going to be $9 million in my head forever. I'm running with it. But this is a fun pass rush now. So get a load of this. I'm going to just read some names here. Just talking about front 4, mind you, not even going beyond that. Greg Rousseau, Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Poona Ford, Shaq Lawson. It is a fun group there in Buffalo. Yeah, that doesn't even count AJ Epinesa, a second rounder who has flash too. I mean, they're going the Philadelphia route, and they're doing everything they can to have a dominant pass rush because the health of their safeties has been an issue. I know they addressed it with Taylor Rapp this offseason, but they are really depending on that front 4 to get a rush on Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, whoever else it could be in the AFC.
Both of those, right?
Fire dead. But dude, this is the year. If Buffalo, it feels like people are coming off them a little bit. Now I think is the time to jump all in on the Bills.
Well, yeah, because the addition of Aaron Rodgers to the AFC East, then you kind of coupled in with kind of the last couple off seasons and how their seasons have just ended the last couple years. Yeah, people are starting to kind of like Lamar, right? It's like, yeah, we were on you, but the last 2 years, what have you done for me lately? Except in Buffalo's case, just get your heart ripped out from amazing games that you just find yourselves on the wrong end of every time.
Yeah, well said.
Uh-oh, Wally.
Do you hear that?
Well, my dog's not barking. But I can hear it.
So we're barking.
Yeah, so these dogs are barking right now. We got the 911 rapid fire. 15 seconds or less. That's not going to happen. Before we get into, we want you to know this rapid fire segment is brought to you by Abby Turner Creative, your one-stop shop marketing agency specializing in branding, high-end photography, fashion, and more. Especially if you're me and Wally's age, where it feels like there's a birthday, graduation, maybe an engagement, weddings. You name it, it's happening every weekend. Abby Turner Creative is the only way to go for yourself. Check her out for yourself at abbyturnercreative.com or head over to her Instagram at Saudad and Sapphire. Again, abbyturnercreative.com. Before we go over to it as well, and I know I'm not going to be stepping on Abby's toes when I go over this, I do want to give a huge shout out to Julie Jackson. She was the photographer that had done our pictures. Brought over, Abby had actually referenced her, so I was able to go through with her. Julie Jackson photo on her IG. Shout out to Julie Jackson as well. But shout out to your boy Foster Moreau participating in OTAs just 2 months after his cancer diagnosis. Phenomenal. Again, class move by the Saints. Love this as the player. And of course, Derek Carr gets one of his boys in a familiar face in a new spot.
This is going to be like my Seattle Seahawks of last year. I'm going to end up adopting this Saints team for my NFC team of 2023. I mean, it's a classy move for the Saints, but at the same time, they're also going to get a good tight end now coming into their room. So not only is it an amazing story, it keeps getting better because he might even be able to produce now. It's awesome news. But someone who thinks they can produce in 2023 and maintains they're not retired, Steven.
Allegedly.
Wish we had our boy David on. His favorite player of all time, Adrian Peterson. Huh? He says he's not retired and he still wants to play football. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Of course I want that. I want to be able to see every single player kind of just get scooped off the field. But at the same time, you're out of the game this long. I already forgot, and I don't want to take too much of your tidbits away. I already kind of forgot how you ended your career at that 3 yards per carry in 4 games in 2021 we last saw. I did end up stealing it. Sorry. So I'm glad you already forgot about that. I don't want to be reminded of the cliff that you fell off of, just like every single other running back fell off the cliff. It is still fresh in my mind that you almost broke the single season record the year after tearing your ACL. Sorry, my Packers had to cut you short there. So let me keep that memory.
Yeah, 38 carries, 98 yards his last year with 4 games.
Frank Gore was a little bit more. Frank Gore was more productive than that.
Well, yeah, he was probably more productive in the boxing ring too. Didn't an AP get his ass kicked? Or am I making that up?
I think Frank Gore got his ass kicked.
I keep losing track. All these old, retired, need money running backs.
I know Lev Bell got his ass kicked. I'm pretty sure too.
Well,
literally, I can list them off.
I saw he had his "Hey, I'm sorry that I left Pittsburgh" thing this week. He was asking to come and get preseason carries so you can retire a Steeler. I'm like, how far the mighty have fallen.
I know. That's how you get when you're on that pedestal with all that money and fame and kicking ass, and you forget that every single person is replaceable in the NFL.
You're right. Everybody's replaceable in the NFL.
Even if you like it or don't.
Well, and Romeo Dobbs says, you know what? We already replaced Aaron Rodgers. He can do the exact same thing Jordan Love can do the exact same thing that Aaron Rodgers can do. How did
Let me
you
kind of break this down.
That?
I think, so what I see is, I agree. Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers can both throw the football. That's the exact same thing. Aaron might be a tad bit more accurate, can drop it in a zone, arguably one of the best back shoulder passers, flick of the wrist on the run. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just disrespectful. There's one thing with Devontae Adams coming out with the Derek Carr A-Rod comparisons. That one,
at least
still
Derek
laughable.
Carr is established as a professional quarterback.
It's not exactly. It's not outlandish. You're like, okay, I think Derek Carr is good. I don't think he's Aaron Rodgers good, but you're gassing up your boy.
Jordan Love took a discount on a 5th-year deal this year because he was worried he wouldn't get another shot.
Yeah. So and at the end of the day, he's still making money. So you gotta be happy with a kid that's still almost kind of betting on himself, but also still getting the bag. But this is what you want to hear from one of your wide receivers in a wide receiver room. Just a young group of guys. Aaron Jones, the oldest guy, is 27, 28, in that locker room in the offensive skill position. So for them to kind of be bonding, and, I like seeing my wide receiver talk like this. You want them to. You want every single player in the NFL, especially on your team, to have that mindset. Is it realistic? Absolutely not. Jordan Love, and good thing this is recording, Jordan Love will probably never be Aaron Rodgers. I don't want him to be Aaron Rodgers. I just need him to be Brett Favre. No, he's not going to be either of those guys. Just let this kid play football.
Not asking for much as Packer fans, right? We just need a 3rd straight Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, that's all.
I don't want much.
That is all. Just 4 out of the last 50 years. Can we just throw that in there?
Yeah, well,
it's not going to happen. Just let the kid play.
Do you remember a few years ago there was that stupid stretch of are you in a good head place to receive news that might be potentially harmful? I guess you could say, I mean, realistically, the last 10 years, playoff-wise, maybe he can do the same thing Aaron Rodgers has.
That's true. Again, the talent is there. I like that we're going to have the running portion of it there. It's going to open the offense. Again, I love the confidence. I don't think it's going to happen, but you just have to have that mindset to be able to be successful in the league. So kudos to you, Romeo. But we all know this. No, I think he's closer. He's closer to Matt Flynn than Aaron Rodgers.
Shout out to all the Spurs fans, David included, Zach Leonetti included in that as well, because Harry Kane, potentially an American footballer before long, says that he is planning on, at some point after he hangs up his soccer cleats, giving it a try in pro football. And all I have to tell you this, Steven, this is our revenge. Soccer had a good little run here in the States. This is how we win the World Cup. We turn all the best soccer players in the world into kickers. Guess who's lifting up the cup in 2026? Thank me in 3 years.
Yeah, probably closer to 13 years than the 3, but I love it. Imagine if he could just come over and just take over a job, right? I want to hear what the criticism is. I bet there's a lot of NFL player or NFL fans that just aren't really that educated.
But why,
EPL.
right? Like, if he's good enough to do it, you might as well do it.
Why the hell, dude? How old is he? Is he like 33, 34? He could probably rock another 4 or 5 years here, make some money, go play in Atlanta, New Orleans, go play in a dome game or go play a dome team.
This is going to surprise the hell out of you, because it surprised the hell out of me earlier too. Shows how out of touch I am to the EPL. That old-looking, wanker English dude is 29 years old.
Harry Kane is?
Harry Kane, that balding bum from Tottenham, is 29 years old.
Tottenham. God, you just said every single letter in that team. Yeah, but,
I was more or less just giving Zach and David a hard time, too. Yeah. I actually kind of like Harry Kane.
No, I don't mind Harry Kane, but he's not ever going to sniff it. I wonder where he's going to go next. But while we're on the subject, we also got Lionel Messi playing his final game at PSG. He could be heading over to the MLS. We had Zlatan Ibrahimovic having his last game at AC Milan. Not a dry eye in the stadium during that moment, which was awesome. You just never thought you'd ever see Zlatan Ibrahimovic cry, and he do. You see he even looks manly when he cries.
Did you see his text? Or he had a quote about it the day that they honored him. The morning of, it was raining, and apparently he said, "Even God is sad today." And I love that
just
man.
About right. Yeah, Zlatan. Yeah,
everybody loves Zlatan.
Best interviews ever. Yeah, everyone doesn't like people like that, but Zlatan is the exception.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't feel like an act for him. It truly is. He's just the most confident person on the face of the earth.
I mean, you saw that interview when he was on the MLS talking about one of the dudes that just won MVP or something, and asking if he thinks he's better than him, and he's like, yeah. He's like, how old is he? Oh, and he's playing here? Where was I when I was that old? Yeah, I was playing overseas. Exactly. Zlatan, he's a different beast.
We'll miss that guy, I'll tell you that much.
With that, that's going to bring us into another episode of Loss of Down. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Loss of Down. Retweet us on our Twitter, _loss. Remember, this episode is brought to you by tabbies.com, as well as abbyturnercreative.com, or Abby Turner Creative. Check her on Instagram, Side and Sapphire. Wally, do you have any parting words? Any predictions for the Stanley Cup?
You have it. You're my proof that this is true, because you asked me going into the Cup, and I said Florida in 7. I like Vegas night 1, though. I think this is going to be one of those weird series where you see basically home ice defended almost the entire time. I think that you might even see Vegas go up 2-0 by the time you're listening to this. Do not count out the cardiac Cats right now. Matthew Tkachuk and the Panthers get it done. I'm saying Cats in 7, but we'll see. How about you in the NBA? It's 1-1 now.
Yep, it's 1-1.
Was that a flash in the pan, or do the Heat have legs?
No,
here?
I think they have legs a little bit. I think the lineup change with adding Kevin Love in there kind of helped because, based off what I was hearing today, Jokic is going to Jokic, but you need to stop Jamal Murray because that's the guy who's going to initiate everything. So once you saw them kind of put some pressure on Jamal yesterday, you saw the game slow down. The Heat won by 3. Jokic had 41 and 11 with 4 assists as well. Still, Jokic isn't getting stopped, but Jamal Murray with 18, I think it's like 5 rebounds, 10 assists, had a solid game. But the kid who's been averaging 28 points in Game 2s of the series and 32 points in the playoffs alone, for you to be able to cut that almost in half, that's how you're going to beat them. So adding the size with Kevin Love is big. I'm trying to think
the white agent 0.
Exactly.
No disrespect to Gilbert.
Yeah, I think I don't really have like a lock that I like. Maybe Bam out of Bayou, points and rebounds, or if you want to get it, points, rebounds, and assists. I had 32 yesterday. He hits 34. K-Love is kind of hit or miss. I don't have like my lock. I usually have Jason Tatum that I'm always playing, or like a LeBron's rebound prop. It's kind of hard right now because I'm still finicky, and the 3 points are the fun bets to pick, but man, can they be annoying.
See, I like that too because this time of year I usually like to throw an anytime scorer for hockey because even the guys like a McDavid are always like plus 300 or so because it's playoff hockey. Because of that, I don't have the odds. I was trying to pull them up really quick. But Matthew Tkachuk is the guy. Everybody should know the name, but I'm in love with that guy. So I'm going to tell you, Matthew Tkachuk. The Pirates are going to lose to the freaking A's today. I'm already disgusted.
Good.
All right, sorry.
No,
I'm
good.
done.
I like that energy because our boy Mitchie Keller on the mound tomorrow to rake us up some money. I'm telling you guys, you get Richie up on the mound. You're going to want to look at, or Mitch, excuse me, you're going to want to look at.
Well, he looks like Richie Rich, so I kind of thought that's what you were going for.
You want to, whatever is over is hit it and then take it up to 8, 9, or 10, depending what his total set at for strikeout bets. Dude, Mitch Keller is a walking at least 8.
Well, and you'd imagine against the Athletics, too.
And the Athletics, what's the score right now? Are they lighting?
It's 1-0 in the first inning, so I'm being a little dramatic.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I hope they keep lighting that pitcher up so it makes Mitch look better tomorrow and you just knock them all down.
I hope you're wrong, but I also hope you're right about tomorrow, so it's a mixed bag.
Oh.
That's all I got, guys.
Let's get the hell out of here.
All right, we love you. We'll see you next week. We'll have all 3 of us back. Get a load of that. Celebrate, baby.
Let's get it, baby.